Local news about local people. This is NewsLink Indiana.
Hello, I'm Chris Bavender. Thanks for joining us. The fate of 5 pit bull puppies police believe were involved in illegal dogfighting is up in the air. Police found the puppies during a drug bust at a home on North Brady Street in Muncie. The puppies were at home next door without food or water. The find comes nearly a month after a dead pit bull was discovered in a dumpster, its legs torn and its snout duct taped. ARF employee Nikki Stevenson says her shelter deals with many dogs involved in dogfighting.
Bait dogs, the bait dogs, the dogs they use that are not aggressive, we can place generally. But if we have a dog that we've known has been a fighter and he is aggressive here, we unfortunately have to consult with our vet and euthanize.
The puppies currently at the Muncie Animal Shelter may be euthanized if they show aggression. The Indiana Senate is back in the State House at work on the budget for education, but not before some public input. As NewsLink Indiana's Molly Fry tells us, Senators Allie Craycraft, Tim Lannon, and Vi Simpson got an earful from area Hoosiers.
One day after Muncie schools announced dozens of job cuts, people from area schools came out to be heard.
That there's a lot of things to be proud of, not only in Muncie, but in the state of Indiana. And why isn't the governor listening?
They shared concerns over the proposed educational budget. Teachers, parents, administrators, even a student spoke to 3 Democratic senators scared programs might be lost.
I think high school is a big time to experiment with new things. If you want to get into art, if you want to get into drama or music.
But for some, fewer programs is worth it to save money.
I've always been a cheerleader for all-day kindergarten, earlier enrollment for our kindergarten students. I've also been an advocate for spring testing for ISTEP. But I regretfully ask you to vote no on both of these issues.
The proposed budget would pay school districts a set amount for each student, so there would no longer be a minimum guarantee.
As the minimum guarantee has always provided at least some level of stability in school funding for districts, particularly those districts that are considered stagnant in enrollment or in declining enrollment.
And in many Delaware and Madison County schools, declining enrollment is a reality. Although there are fewer students, public school administrators say they have students with more expensive needs. The people asked Republicans and Democrats alike to help educational funding.
I'm a Republican by nature, but when it comes to school funding, we're talking about children, I think that's when you set your partisan label aside.
In Muncie, Molly Fry, NewsLink, Indiana.
Senators Craycraft, Simpson, and Lannon urged the public to write their legislators about their concerns. Cash wasn't the object of a Wednesday night robbery in Richmond. Instead, this robber was after drugs, but not just any drug. NewsLink Indiana's Lindsay Jameson has more on this growing problem.
I was more concerned about everybody, about myself. He had the gun, but I didn't think he would use it.
It was a first for the Richmond apothecary, a robbery, not for money, but the drug OxyContin. At 6 p.m., a man walked into the pharmacy, pulled a gun, and demanded the painkiller. 3 customers were in the store at the time. All got a good look at the robber.
The witnesses gave some very detailed information, which, you know, we were very happy to have.
3 Richmond area pharmacies have been robbed recently for OxyContin.
The need for it is becoming stronger every day. The psychological demand for it is enormous. The physical demand for it is enormous. And that's certainly something I can't even begin to address.
Police believe the robber had extensive knowledge of the drug because as the robbery was in progress, he stopped Rokas and asked for a higher dosage.
Most people think about the heroin, the cocaine, the crack cocaine, the marijuana, and a lot of people don't realize that prescription drugs, that there's just as much, if not more, abuse.
After the man got what he came for, he ran out of the store and down a back alley. Despite his anger, Rokas says he learned something from the experience.
Realize that, you know, our lives are important and that everybody's life is important and that, you know, we are, in a sense, blessed to be with each other.
In Richmond, Lindsay Jameson, NewsLink, Indiana.
Witnesses tell police the robber was a white male about 6'2" and 180 pounds with blue eyes and sandy hair. If you have any information, call the Richmond Police Department at 765-983-7247. No more warnings for truckers who drive through historic downtown Pendleton. Police say now it's time to ticket. NewsLink Indiana's Chris Wilson explains why.
Trouble's been rolling down the streets of Pendleton for years, according to the people who live there. Town Council President Don Henderson says even after an ordinance was passed in November restricting semis from driving down historic State Street, hundreds still drive through.
Now the time has come and that we're going to start issuing tickets, because it's very obvious that those that are now starting to come back through town are ones that have decided that, well, it doesn't matter.
The town is located between major interstates and highways, so State Street acts as a shortcut. The restricted area is State Road 38 between I-69 and State Road 67. Henderson says a detour isn't a hassle.
Adds about 4 minutes to their travel time.
Town officials say the trucks not only endanger pedestrians, but could damage the foundations of these historic buildings, some of which have been here for over 150 years. Leroy McGee owns a flower shop and is fed up with watching 18-wheelers fly past his window each day.
They seem to just love to rev up their engines, and you can hear these windows and buildings shake.
Police put signs just off the interstate, but drivers say not soon enough.
I seen the sign. I thought it said no trucks, but too late.
The only exception to the rule, farm trucks and those making deliveries within city limits. In Pendleton, Chris Wilson, NewsLink, Indiana.
Police say they'll start ticketing immediately with fines up to $100. Indiana Senior Senator Richard Lugar has co-sponsored a bill to authorize more funding for Alzheimer's research. The Ronald Reagan Alzheimer's Breakthrough Act would look into ways to prevent the disease, care for those with Alzheimer's, and promote initiatives for caregivers. The bill, which would also double funding for the disease at the National Institute of Health, also calls for a National Alzheimer's Summit to provide tax credits for families caring with a loved one with Alzheimer's. Well, now here's a look at the NewsLink Indiana forecast. Seems the snow is here to stay, at least through part of the weekend. Thursday night, snow is likely before 9. Chance for snow 90%. Look for a low around 27. Friday, a 30% chance of snow, cloudy with a high near 34. And taking a look at our 5-day forecast, that chance for snow continues Friday night into Saturday. But Sunday, look for partly cloudy skies. Look for lows around 20 degrees with a warm up as we head into next week, with a high near 41 by Tuesday. That is NewsLink Indiana. I'm Chris Bavender. Join us Friday for more news at newslinkindiana.com.